Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here. I'm Shannon Moss. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Department of Public Safety. And the reason why we called this press conference this morning is simply because we're hoping that you can help us get the word out about what Maine State Police, the Bureau of Highway Safety, is seeing out on our roadways. And what it really is dangerous driving, reckless driving, and there's enforcement details that are going to be starting. So talking today will be the Colonel of the Maine State Police, John Cody. We have Lauren Stewart, she's the director of the Bureau of Highway Safety, and we also have Lieutenant Patrick Hood, who is the commanding officer of Troop D right here in Augusta. So, Colonel, we'll kick it off.
Good morning. During 2020 and the pandemic, law enforcement made several adjustments to the way that we targeted enforcement and interacted with the public. We took steps to protect our members and protect the people they serve by really focusing our enforcement efforts really on life safety matters. And many other de minimis infractions were kind of set aside. As we get ready now and move forward in 2021, we're returning to our more normal stance of targeted enforcement across the board. As we've seen laws that had been kind of put in limbo, like inspection and vehicle registrations, those we return to full enforcement. And as a result, we're trying to get back to work. One thing that we did find is that although there was a reduced number of cars on the road during 2020, our officers did see an increase in extreme speeds on certain occasions. And we really have been contacted on unprecedented levels by members of the public who have reached out to us expressing their concerns about changes in behavior that they've seen during their normal commute. They're sharing the aggressive driving, the high speeds, and expressing their concerns about that. So we really are going to be changing our stance, working in partnership with the Maine Bureau of Highway Safety to start trying to get a rein back on some of the dangerous driving that's been happening. And with that, I'll introduce Director Lauren Stewart.
Thank you, Colonel. Good morning, everybody. In addition to the Maine State Police, the Bureau has awarded grants to county and municipal law enforcement agencies to step up patrols with the goal of saving lives by reducing crashes, fatalities, serious injuries, and property damage that result from motor vehicle crashes. Among other traffic violations, these added patrols will be looking for reckless drivers engaged in speeding and aggressive driving, impaired driving, and distracted driving. Just since January 1st of 2021, 665 distracted driving crashes have occurred, and April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. So in addition to the increased patrol presence, you're likely to see and hear additional safety messages from the Bureau of Highway Safety and our partners, such as AAA of Northern New England. We've increased our media buy for television, radio, social, and digital media beginning now and running through the end of September. Again, with the end goal of saving more lives on Maine roadways through fewer car crashes. We want everybody to survive their drive and enjoy their spring and summer. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Patrick Hood. I'm a lieutenant here at the Troop D Barracks, and we cover the Mid-Coast. And what's important is we're holding this press conference here, but these efforts are statewide. It's not only state police, but it's our other partners out there with the sheriff's departments and local police. But together, we are focused on safety. As the Colonel mentioned, some of our enforcement efforts were curtailed during the pandemic. Although we're working our way out of that pandemic, we have seen significant concerns on the roadway as it relates to distracted driving, higher speeds, impaired driving, for any number of reasons. But collectively, we're going to get back to business so that we can save lives. That's really the name of the game here. I want to share a few stats as it relates to crashes. In 2019, we had a total number of 4,344 crashes. Those are speed related. We also had a fatality rate of 157. People died on the road due to those crashes. In 2020, the numbers dipped because we had less traffic on the road. We had a total number of 3,311 crashes that were speed related. Interestingly enough, fatal crashes went up to 165 in 2020. I don't have the exact reasons why, but speed, distracted driving, impaired driving are likely a big cause of that. So on the law enforcement front, what you're going to see is uniformed troopers on regular patrol enforcing distracted driving. That's the hands-free. You can't have anything in your hand that's an electronic device. If you're on the phone, it's Bluetooth or it's earbuds. Whether you're at a stop sign, whether you're traveling on a straight road, you can't have that in your possession. So we're going to be looking for that both in regular and specific overtime details that are funded by the Bureau of Highway Safety. We're also going to be looking for speed. That's both on the interstate unit, the interstate patrols in the turnpike, and also rural patrol. The state police will be using their air wing to do that. So we'll be looking down from 15 to 2,000 feet above, watching traffic, really when people would have no idea. And it's very effective for us. So at the end of the day, we're asking for people to come into voluntary compliance with their speed, distracted driving. It's a lot easier now to get the gentle message to say it's time to put these things down, rather than having a law enforcement officer, whether it's a Maine State Trooper, somebody from the Sheriff's Department, or local police, stopping you and handing that ticket to you because you are choosing not to come into voluntary compliance with either the speed or those handheld electronic devices. So again, we are asking for you to get the message out to the citizens of Maine. For those of you who see this behavior, we encourage you to call. We will do our very best to get a trooper out in front of the behavior that you see. But the reality is this: as you see a few of us gathered here today, we rely on each of our citizens who are on the roadway to be our eyes and ears and make those reports. They help us. It helps us set an example for that good driving behavior. And again, with us all working together, we'll lower these numbers for fatality numbers throughout the state for 2021. So again, thank you for your participation today, and we look forward to taking, we're going to take some questions afterwards, Shannon.
You guys have any questions? Lieutenant Wood? Right back up there.
Right back up there.
Don't go anywhere.
Are you seeing more distracted drivers? Are you seeing more speeding? And if you had to classify, is there a bump in which group? Young kids, older drivers? Is there stats for that?
I don't have the stats. I'll give you my initial. I commute across Route 17 daily, and I do see an increase in every generation, whether it be not our newest drivers because they've had the most recent training, but certainly every age group that is come to rely on life in an electronic device. Everyone has a phone, and it's important to just put it down while you're driving. Stick to the business of driving. Obviously, if there's an emergency, hopefully someone in your family or your social circle will call you, and you can hook up to a Bluetooth device or have earbuds. Something so all of you're not driving one-handed. Speeding, talking with my troopers, we've had some high rollers out on the interstate, and although cars are safer these days, when people are driving in the high 80s, 90s, over 100 miles an hour, they can't anticipate what you or I that may be in the passing lane that have no idea that somebody's operating 20, 30, 40 miles above the speed limit is going to do. And as stated by these numbers, those fatalities, speeds are up. So you run out of time, your reaction time is different. Damage occurs much more quickly when you're well above the speed limit. So although technology is great in our cars, you have to slow down. Plan that extra time. Make a phone call and say you're going to be late, because these little things that we can change that may affect the family is it's crazy not to think that. Take that extra step, get there safely, and come into voluntary compliance for us. That way we can all get through this pandemic and our increasing drive time safely.
And how difficult do you think it's going to be to get that voluntary compliance, to get this back under control after a year where things admittedly have been a little relaxed?
Sure, I think it's going to be a challenge. We have a message board that was granted to us through Highway Safety, and that's up. We set that out on Route 17, and there are reminders across not only our area here, but across the state of distracted driving, getting people to say, okay, maybe this is distracted driving, but again, that law that came into effect that you can't have anything in your hand going down the road as it relates to a communication device, that is law. And there were details that were set up pre-pandemic, and we made contact with a lot of people. Now, again, it's been a year off, plus or minus. It's hard to say as law enforcement, but it's almost been a year off. It's time for us to get back, and we're hoping the gentle reminder will prove to be beneficial rather than having to hand them a summons for that behavior.
And obviously, that's what you want. You don't want to have to give out tickets because for every ticket you give out, there's 2 or 3, 4 that you're missing that could end up in a fatality.
You're absolutely right. And with a law enforcement, whether it's us, the sheriff's department, the local police, with a cruiser on the side of the road with the blue lights, let's face it, people pay attention to that. And if they can change their behavior through maybe seeing enforcement action from another person, that's a win for us. But yes, at the end of the day, voluntary compliance is what we're looking for. Yes, ma'am.
Have you been hearing a lot of complaints about distracted driving on the roads, or would you say you've been hearing more of that on the highways?
I don't have my sense anecdotally is most of those complaints come on from the interstate system, because typically people are on that stretch of road, they're able to pass, but we still get calls of high speeds on, for instance, Route 9, Route 17, Route 3, because those are the major commuting arteries. So again, although we can't be everywhere at every time, if someone was to call, I'm observing this behavior and this is where I am, that's great. But please don't make the phone call to the police and have that phone. Most cars now, they have Bluetooth, but I've talked to a fair amount of people and say, hey, where are those earbuds that came with your phone? Oh, that's a great idea. It's just that extra step. But again, I think it's across both rural and the interstate system. And again, that's across the state of Maine, not just here in the mid-coast.
Do you ever worry about drivers having those earbuds in, but they won't be able to hear what's happening around them?
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where's the most harm? If you're going to be on the phone, like most people are, I'm on the phone a lot, but I have Bluetooth. We communicate with their families, it's almost instantly. I'm less concerned about them not hearing, because typically, let's take for an example, an ambulance, a fire truck, a cruiser coming up behind. We have both visual and audio for that sensation. And most of us, when we're driving in a civilian role, we're looking around. We're not so locked in on talking. We're still paying attention. So, although yes, I understand your point, I don't think it's blaring so loud that they can't be aware what's happening around them.
So you mentioned you guys have been curtailing some of those smaller infractions like expired registrations, expired inspection stickers since the pandemic began. Now that you guys are getting back to business, is that going to be a stricter approach in terms of no warning at all when someone gets pulled over, say their registration just expired, their inspection just expired, or is it going to be a situational approach?
I think with all of this enforcement, there has to be some give and take. We're going to talk with people, have a roadside conversation, and find out what the understanding of the circumstances are. We're all different, and it all depends. Is this person a habitual violator? Looking at their driving history, do they have 18 convictions? Or is this the first time they've been stopped? Law enforcement in general, listen, we're sons and daughters, we're parents, we're all human. We all put our pants on the same way every morning. We're going to have that conversation, but there may be a time where somebody feels, I didn't earn this ticket. It wasn't for me. Well, the good thing is you can contest a ticket. You can have a conversation in court with a judge, but just understand sometimes the side of the road, if you're on the interstate system, busy Route 3, Route 17, it's not a safe place to have an extended conversation with somebody who we issue a ticket. The proper time and place for that is in the court system, and that's always an option, and that's explained. But the short answer is we're going to have a conversation, try to get the understanding of the circumstances, but oftentimes when we're on overtime details, when we're out there targeting a specific focus, a lot of the time that's going to result in a summons.
Speaking of the court system, obviously could result in more citations, some people might contest those. Has anybody had a conversation with the judicial system, which as I'm sure you've probably heard, has got quite a logjam from the
Sure.
pandemic. They haven't been meeting in person. Have you had a conversation with them, and do they have the capacity to take on more of this?
Yeah, I haven't had a specific conversation, but I know we have made certain moves to work with the court as far as the criminal realm. But I would direct your specific question. That's not one for me, but we could certainly get some more information on you. But you're right. Enforcement is going to fill that system that was probably still active, but not as active as it may have been in the past couple years. But we're committed to working together with those partners, and we will adjust, accordingly. the idea is that we want to make sure that someone who wants a trial and feels that that's their right, and we encourage that they're able to do that in a timely fashion. But that's outside of our realm. But I'd be happy to connect you with somebody over there so you can get a good solid answer from their side.
Any other questions? Is that it? Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for coming out today. We really appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen. Lieutenant Hood, Colonel Cody, Dr. Stewart, thank you very much. And thanks for coming. Thanks for helping us get the word out, and drive safe.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. About the
Righty. Good? Packing this.
What was that?
Packaging this.
Yeah. You too?
Oh, yeah.